Welcome to the Shiny-Headed Historian, where we delve into the past to uncover the stories and events that shape our world today. Today we're talking about the big stick, dollar, and moral diplomacy, and how these policies helped the United States increase its military strength and expand its global influence during the early 20th century. To understand how the United States increased its military strength, it's important to first examine the nation's foreign policy during this time period. Under the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt, the United States implemented a series of policies known as the Big Stick, Dollar, and Moral Diplomacy. These policies were designed to project American power and influence abroad. The Big Stick policy, also known as the Roosevelt Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, was a policy of military intervention in the affairs of other nations in the Western Hemisphere. The policy was based on the idea that the United States would use its military power to maintain stability and protect its interests in the region. And it was used to justify interventions in countries such as Cuba and Puerto Rico. Basically, it was telling anybody in Europe to stay out of the Western Hemisphere because this is our business and we'll take care of it. The dollar diplomacy was a policy of using economic influence or sending money to people to promote American interests abroad. We'll pay you to think and act and do just the same way as we do. The United States government encouraged American businesses to invest in other countries, and it used loans and other financial incentives to promote American economic interests in the region. The United States also adopted a policy of neutrality toward Europe, as the nation was still recovering from World War I and it did not want to get involved in another war. The moral diplomacy was a policy of using moral or humanitarian arguments to justify American intervention in the affairs of other nations. The United States government argued that it had the moral duty to promote democracy and human rights in other countries, and it used this argument to justify interventions in places such as the Philippines. In conclusion, Big Stick, Dollar, and Moral Diplomacy were key elements of U.S. foreign policy, or how we dealt with other countries during the early 20th century, and they played a significant role in increasing the nation's military strength and expanding its global influence. These policies were implemented under the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt and were used to justify interventions in other countries and promote American interests. Thank you again for joining us today on the Shiny-Headed Historian. Join us next time as we explore another interesting chapter of history.